Hi everyone, I'm Dwight Bradley, and back in the, I'm not sure I'm going to be reading or talking, but if I just talk, I'll probably go over, so I better read. Back in the early 1970s, Tad and I were still in our late teens, and we were like totally into rock climbing. And we spent a lot of time exploring the local cliffs, which came to be called the Obscure Crags, where you could, basically you could make a first ascent without being a very good climber. The thing was to just be the first climber to get to this cliff, and then anything was a first ascent. So we knew about the little cliffs on Pine Mountain that are now called Chapel Rock. But at the time we called it the North Peak of Pine. They're out behind the Horton Center. And this was back in the day when the Horton Center was this rinky-dink little thing. It was seldom occupied. There were a couple of buildings. The road was rough. It was hard to get up there. And so it was usually empty. Anyway, we got a hold of a car. We didn't have cars. Either of us owned a car. We drove across Dolly Cop. We turned into, normally you would park right at the junction there, but you could drive partway up the road, and then there's this metal gate. And you remember this. So we were going to park there and then walk up, but it was a hot day. So Tad got out and took a look at the gate and go, evidently he'd seen this kind of gate before, and there was a trick. So Tad did the trick on the gate survived, he opened it up, we went through, he closed it up, and on we went up to the rocks for a day of climbing. There were 3 or 4 of us, and I can't remember who it was besides me and Tad. Anyway, so the cliffs up on the North Peak of Pine, or Chapel Ledge, are they're about 50 to 80 feet tall. They're made out of really beautiful metamorphic rock. The rock was nice. It used to be clean. Now there's a lot of bushes that have grown up, but there's an excellent small climbing area. And so we just sort of got there, and this was no guidebook, no nothing, self-taught climbers. Picked out an obvious route, started up it. Oh, and we noticed there's a number painted on the bottom of the it was a number 3, in fact. Anyway, one of us did the lead, and the rest of us came up this route, and half an hour, 45 minutes later, we were down back at the bottom and doing another route. And this one had number 4. And partway up, whoever was leading came upon an old soft steel piton of the kind that by the early 1970s was long obsolete. And 1 minute to go, you're kidding. No, that can't be.
This is practice.
So anyway, it turns out that this was a well-used climbing area, and we just had sort of come upon it. And we later discovered that it was the Green Berets. The Green Berets were using the White Mountain National Forest for training for wilderness and mountaineering and stuff. And as an aside, some of you might remember Operation Cab Driver 2 that happened in Randolph one of those summers. That was when we helped them blow up the bridge over Snyder Brook. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I'm probably going to run over by 15 minutes. But so at the end of the day, we got done rock climbing. We start driving back down, and it was like there was a billboard that the Rangers were hiding behind. We drove past the Horton Center, and suddenly there's this truck with 2 Rangers in it, right behind us, tailgating us. And they followed us very closely down to the gate, and then we stopped at the gate, and we're boxed in. And then this very stern-looking tall Ranger comes sauntering over. Okay, well, boys, how'd you get in? And so we were basically busted. So Tad just sort of went with the flow and said, well, it's like, well, everybody knows how to get into this. And so now here's the secret to how you used to be able to get in the Pine Mountain. There's a big metal bar going across, and a chain and a padlock on a post at one side. The other side had a big metal post, and the bar had a hinge pin. That's all you had to do. You pick up the hinge pin, pull the gate out, rotate it around, and you just go in the back way. And so Tad he picks it up, he does this. With a flourish, he waves the Forest Service rangers through, and there, just like that. So they laughed and had to let us go. All right.